I'll never forget that drive back to my land. The way the gravel crunched under my tires, the smell of sagebrush and dust drifting through the open window, the promise of quiet waiting just beyond the next hill. I'd been gone 5 months, roaming the backroads of Wyoming, trying to shake off a decade of grinding it out in the construction biz. Dreaming of the day I'd build my own cabin on my 8 acres in central Arizona, right by Lake Pleasant. But when I crested that final ridge and saw what was sitting on my property, my heart stopped. A shiny new house, 2 stories, glass windows glinting like it belonged there, sprawled across the exact spot I'd staked out for my future workshop. Hey, I'm Nate Harper, 38. A guy who left the corporate hamster wheel to carve out a slice of peace on land I paid for with every dime I had. That plot was my reset button, a scrappy old trailer, a patch of mesquite trees, and a view of the lake that made every bad day worth it. I'd spent years marking the boundaries, dreaming up plans, but when I got back from my trip, it wasn't my land anymore. There was a house, a freaking house, with a paved driveway, power lines, even a sprinkler system spitting water onto fresh sod. I sat in my truck, jaw on the floor, thinking I'd taken a wrong turn, but my GPS didn't lie. This was my dirt, my deed, and someone had built their dream home right on top of it. I climbed out, boots hitting gravel that wasn't there when I left, and started pacing. My steel boundary markers? Gone. The old shed where I kept my tools, replaced by a dumpster stuffed with construction junk. There was a water meter with an address 1 digit off mine, and a sign nailed to a tree, private drive, Dawson Project? Dawson. Whoever the hell that was, they'd poured concrete, wired utilities, and landscaped my land like they owned it, all while I was off-grid, chasing sunsets in the Rockies. I snapped photos, checked my maps, and felt my blood boil. This wasn't a mistake. Mistakes don't build houses. This was a heist. Next morning, I'm back at the house, dew still wet on the grass, my pulse thumping like I'm heading into a fight. A sleek SUV's parked in the carport, not a work truck, but the kind a guy buys to flex. I knock, hard, and the door swings open. There's this dude, Greg Dawson, maybe 45, all polished with a gym bro haircut and a shirt that screams, I'm important. He grins like we're buddies and says, Hey, you with the county? Sorry about the noise, we're almost done here. I just stare, trying not to lose it, and say, This is my land, pal. You're standing on half an acre of it. His smile doesn't budge. He tilts his head, all calm, and goes, Huh, that's weird. My surveyor said this lot was clear. Must be an old map mix-up. I pull out my phone, show him the GIS overlay, my deed, the pins, all rock solid. No mix-up, I say. This is mine. And you've got no paperwork to prove otherwise. He squints at the screen, then chuckles, like I'm telling a bad joke, and leans against the doorframe. Look, man, I bought this fair and square, private deal, off-market. Land out here's messy, you know? Tell you what, I'll get you a check for 12 grand to square up the corner I might have crossed. No need to make this ugly. I'm floored. This guy built a house on my property, and he's offering me pocket change like it's a fence dispute. You don't get it, I say, voice tight. You didn't cross a corner. You stole my land. He shrugs, all smug, and says, Court's expensive, buddy. I've got lawyers. You sure you want to play? I walk away before I do something stupid. But that night, a fancy envelope's under my trailer door, $12,000 to waive all claims, plus a warning about defamation and harassment suits if I fight back. Greg wasn't just bold. He thought he was bulletproof. I'm sitting on my porch, staring at his house glowing through the trees like it's mocking me, and I know this isn't about a bad survey. It's about power, greed, a guy who saw empty land and thought he could rewrite the rules because I wasn't around. That's when I call Sarah Vega, my lawyer, a no-nonsense woman who'd helped me with the deed years ago. She takes one look at my files and says, Nate, this guy's not dumb. He's dangerous. We're not just fighting for your land. We're fighting a con. We dig in, pulling old surveys, permits, even drone shots I took before I left. Everything checks out. My land, my lines, no question. But Greg's not sitting still. 2 nights later, I wake to a sharp crack, like a gunshot, and see an orange glow through the trees. My trailer's on fire. I'm out the door, half-dressed, sprinting through the brush. The back wall's burning, flames creeping toward my propane tank. I grab a hose, douse what I can, and call 911. Firefighters save the trailer, But the back room's toast, my dad's old toolbox. My blueprints, gone. The fire chief pulls me aside, voice low, and says, "This wasn't lightning, Nate. Smells like gasoline." My gut twists. I know who did this, but there's no proof, not yet. The sheriff takes a report, shrugs, says, "Could be kids. Kids don't burn houses over land disputes." The next day, my driveway's trashed, broken drywall, a smashed sink. Spray paint on my fence screaming claim jumper. I'm taking pictures when a buddy texts me a link, nateharperfraud.com. It's a slick site, accusing me of faking deeds, scamming clients, even stealing land from honest developers. There's a video of me yelling at Greg, edited to make me look unhinged. The domain's hidden, but Sarah traces the billing to Dawson Properties LLC. Greg's not just fighting. He's trying to bury me. I'm rattled, can't sleep, jumping at every noise, but then something shifts. I'm checking my burned-out trail cams when a guy steps out of the shadows, young, nervous, hoodie pulled low. "You Nate," he whispers. I nod, hand on my flashlight. He passes me a USB drive and says, "I'm Carlos. Worked framing on that house. Greg's dirty, fake permits, moved stakes, told us to rush it while you were gone. It's all here. I quit when I saw the fire. He's gone before I can ask more, but that drive's a lifeline. I plug it in, and it's a jackpot. Forged permits, doctored maps with Greg's handwriting. Emails about securing Project A before the owner notices. One file's a fake deed, signed by a notary who doesn't exist, tied to a shell company run by Greg's brother, Kyle." Sarah's eyes light up when I show her. "This isn't just civil," she says. "It's criminal. We're taking him down. We build our case, piece by piece." The surveyor Greg claimed signed off. Never heard of him. Says his signature's forged. The permit's a copy of one for a barn 3 counties away, with the address swapped. Sarah files a civil suit for trespass, fraud, and damages. Then hands the USB to the DA, who starts sniffing around for criminal charges. Greg fights back, dropping a video online, standing in front of his house, my land, playing the victim. "I'm just a guy chasing the American dream," he says, voice cracking. "But this neighbor's out to destroy me." It's Oscar-worthy, but Sarah counters with a press release. Maps, files. Carlos's anonymous statement. A local news crew picks it up, runs a piece called, "Whose Land Is It?" And suddenly, Greg's not the hero. Calls start coming, other landowners, ex-workers, all saying Greg pulled similar stunts. I'm not alone anymore. But Greg doesn't quit. My gate smashed, tire tracks gouging my field. My new cameras? Gutted, memory cards gone. Someone tosses a dead coyote on my porch, wrapped in a trash bag like a warning. 3 letters show up in my mailbox, no sender, typed. Back off or regret it. One's got a photo of my truck at the gas station, license plate circled. I'm not sleeping, but I'm not breaking either. Sarah says he's panicking, lashing out because we're closing in. Then Carlos calls, voice shaking. "They're following me, Nate. Saw Greg's SUV outside my apartment. I offer to hide him, pay for a hotel, but he says, just win this. I'll testify if you need me." That's when I know I can't let him down. The trial's like walking into a storm. Greg strolls in, all charm, tailored suit, like he's selling condos. Sarah's ready, though, with a stack of evidence that could sink a ship. She lays it out. My deed, the real survey, the forged permits, Greg's emails plotting to lock in my land. Carlos takes the stand, hands steady now, and tells the judge how Greg ordered the crew to ignore my stakes, even burned papers in a pit one night. Sarah plays a clip from the USB, Greg's voice, clear as day, saying, "Build it quick." And he can't undo it. The courtroom's so quiet you could hear a pin drop. Greg's lawyer tries to spin it. Disgruntled worker, bad survey, honest mistake. But the judge, a grizzled woman named Torres, isn't buying. She leans forward, voice sharp, and says, "Mr. Dawson, you expect me to believe you built a $700,000 house without checking the deed?" Greg stammers, his charm crumbling, and I feel the tide turn. Torres doesn't even break for lunch. She reads the verdict right there. Greg's guilty of fraud, trespass, forgery, and malicious prosecution. 5 years in prison, his company's dissolved, assets seized to cover $420,000 in damages to me. Legal fees, property damage, the works. His house, ordered torn down within 30 days, his dime. Carlos gets whistleblower protection and a payout. Greg just sits there, face blank, like he can't believe the world didn't bend for him. I walk out, knees shaky, but lighter than I've felt in months. 2 hours later, it's gone, just dirt and silence where Greg's dream used to be. I walk the land, slow, feeling every step, and start to rebuild. Not a house, not yet, but something mine. I clear the debris, plant creosote bushes and wildflowers, build a simple stone patio with a wooden arbor. On it, I carve, Harper Land, Harper Heart. It's not flashy, but it's true. The neighbors who used to avoid me start showing up. Miss Clara with a peach cobbler, Old Man Ruiz asking for help checking his own deed. They're not scared anymore, not after Greg's fall. Word spreads, and soon I'm getting emails from folks across Arizona, all fighting shady developers or land grabs. So I start something new, Clear Lines, a group linking landowners with lawyers, surveyors, and journalists to protect what's theirs. It's not about revenge. It's about making sure no one else wakes up to a stranger's house on their dirt. Now, I sit on that patio most evenings,